How's it going? My name is Jumpy. Today, I'm going to talk about Maxine, which I've been meaning to watch since it was released in 2024. This is the third film in the X horror movie trilogy. The first two entries are X and Pearl, which were both released in 2022. All three were directed by Ty West, and he wrote X and Maxine on his own and co-wrote Pearl with lead actress Mia Goth. I talked about X and Pearl in my 2022 movie rankings video. Since then, I've rewatched both movies a couple times, and most recently at the start of this year. Spoilers ahead for X and Pearl for the rest of this video. If you haven't seen them, I highly recommend both. X takes place in Texas in 1979, and it's about a group of people, including Maxine, who go to an elderly couple's farm to make a porno movie. They hope that the owners Pearl and Howard are just geriatric and will leave them alone. But no, they're scariatric and kill all of Maxine's friends. Both Maxine and Pearl are played by Mia Goth. She's under a lot of old age makeup as the latter. At the end of the movie, Howard dies of a heart attack, and Maxine runs over Pearl's head and drives off. Poor Pearl. Pearl. It's a very fun slasher movie. And then Pearl got her own movie. It's a prequel that takes place in 1918. She lives at the same farm as she did in X. Her mother has to look after her very sick father who can't move or speak. Pearl's husband Howard is away fighting in World War I. There are parallels between Maxine and Pearl. Parallels. A big one is that both want to be a star. Pearl goes into town and meets a movie theater projectionist and has an affair with him. That actor went on to be Superman in the James Gunn movie last year, and I really liked that one. Howard's sister tells Pearl that a dance troupe is holding an audition, and both of them go to that. The whole time, something is off about Pearl, and the movie has a very different look and tone than X. It's a lot more colorful and lavish, and it's a character study drama, but still has many moments of violence and horror when she kills everyone. And now we get to Maxine. I had heard that this isn't as good as the first two movies, and I didn't know what the plot was going into it. It takes place 6 years after X in 1985, and Maxine is now in Hollywood. She still stars in pornographic films, but she wants to break out into other movies. She auditions for a horror sequel called The Puritan 2. It's fun seeing Maxine at the audition confidently telling them she knows her lines, and afterwards, warns the other women who haven't auditioned yet that they're wasting their time. There's a serial killer running around stalking Maxine and killing her friends in gruesome ways. A couple detectives are on the case, and they're played by Bobby Cannavale from The Bone Collector and Michelle Monaghan from The Best of Me. Alright, that's not fair to only list a bad movie. She was in Mission Impossible 3. I remember liking that one. Maxine receives a videotape showing footage of the porno they shot in X. And she later meets a sleazy private investigator played by Kevin Bacon from Friday the 13th, who blackmails her with the tape since the police in Texas still don't know everything that happened. There are some really great scenes throughout the movie. I like the one where Maxine confronts a man with a knife in an alleyway. It makes sense where her character is and how she acts after what she went through in X. Like in that scene, and also how she's haunted by the past. Like in the sequence where Maxine gets a life cast of her head done. That was awesome. There's a great claustrophobic point of view shot where they cover her head. It's creepy and one of my favorite parts of the movie. And the second time Maxine and Kevin Bacon meet, and she goes off on him. I'm glad I rewatched the previous movies in the series as a refresher. There's an Easter egg with the name of the actress in a movie that Pearl likes that would have completely went over my head. And I would have thought, why did they show that and what's its significance? Oh, whatever. And there's a scene where Maxine's friend Leon watches a movie in which an alligator attacks someone, which is something that has happened in this series before. Mia Goth is once again amazing. There's never any moment that's as impressive as the monologue at the end of Pearl, but it's a fantastic performance nonetheless. Kevin Bacon is having a lot of fun. I also quite like Elizabeth Debicki's role as Elizabeth Bender, the demanding movie director of The Puritan 1 and 2. She shares some memorable scenes with Maxine. Maxine's friend Leon is played by Moses Sumney. He works in a video rental store, and their scenes together are fun, like when they discuss actors who started their careers in horror movies. Companion herself, Sophie Thatcher, plays a makeup effects artist. She doesn't get too much to do here, but I'll talk about her more in a couple of my upcoming videos. In Maxine, Lily Collins has a small part as Molly Bennett, the star of the first Puritan movie, and she gives Maxine some advice on working with the director. That behind-the-scenes talk is really interesting to me. Lastly, I need to mention Giancarlo Esposito, who I didn't know was in the movie until I saw his name in the opening credits. He's always going to be Gus from Breaking Bad to me, but I love Do the Right Thing as well. He plays Maxine's agent and entertainment lawyer Teddy Knight, and he's always a pleasure to watch. Maxine is definitely inspired by Giallo movies at times. The killer wears black gloves, and some scenes have really strong red lighting. They also do the Goodfellas long take during the opening credits, where the camera follows Maxine walking through a club called the Landing Strip and into another building where they're shooting a movie. The unbroken shot lasts about a minute and 20 seconds with lots of extras, and even if I've seen it done before, I still think it's pretty cool. I also love the use of split screen in Maxine, which has also been done before in this series, like the memorable landslide scene in X, and at the end of Pearl. There's some good suspense throughout Maxine, as well as fun dark comedy. I watched this movie twice for this video, and the viewings were a couple weeks apart. There's a lot going on here, and there are several things that I like, but the first time I saw it, it didn't quite all gel together for me. I think this is a logical extension of the story where Maxine wants to be a star. She's been through a traumatic experience that changed her, and there's Kevin Bacon and a serial killer running around, as well as the detectives. It felt overstuffed. On the second viewing, that feeling went away and I enjoyed it more. I like all the characters and wouldn't want to lose any of them. Additionally, I really fucking like the finale. It makes a lot of sense where it ends up, and I think it's a satisfying ending. I'm giving Maxine an 8 out of 10. It's the weakest in the trilogy, but I enjoyed the hell out of it. And of course, I recommend it if you liked the first two movies. Thank you so much for watching.